Welcome back to Red Hawk Media's Virtual Academy. We are up to day 20 here. The 20th time that I've had to do this online here, Red Hawk Media Virtual Learning. Today is kind of a quick starter. We're going to hop into Schoology. We're going to take a look at upcoming dates, and then we're going to jump into the classwork here. So let's take a look. Let me send this on over. Okay. And let me put this up to full screen. All right, so some of our dates that we're looking at, just to zoom in here. Oh, it looks like I've got some work to do here grading. All right, Sunday, we've got final build. There is going to be some stuff added on here. Digital Media 2, you will have a deadline that will now fall on Sunday as well. That'll relate to today's content. The final game build for game design, that's happening at the end of the week here, 11:59 Sunday. And then the Stinger Pack for Digital Media 1, that comes due. And that's 6-7 different MP3s that you're submitting there. And then for video production, that's where you will be turning in your vlog for a week in quarantine. Okay, so just kind of a quick update of things that are up and coming here. And continue to look for updates here on Schoology. And then the last thing is make sure that we are hopping in on Google Meet. I'm on there from 11 to noon. You can stop in there. If that time doesn't work for you, as I've frequently heard from poor Rhea, who is never awake by noon, email me. Drop me a time. Let me know what works for you for a Google Meet. Okay, excellent. So, taking a look at this, we're going to hop into Digital Media 1, or Digital Media 2, my bad. Let me send this over. And Digital Media 2 has been working on their games. I thought I'd highlight a few more before we jump into today's content. The first one was referenced yesterday, and that was Rowan's, who had so much trouble with its colliders, and now that has been fixed. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, and here we go. So he's been working on his colliders. He's now got things working. That's what he's demonstrating here after I called him out yesterday. And then he's got his moving platforms working as well. Okay, so that's all going well. All right, that takes me over to Owen, who does a speed run through Dante's Inferno here. Although he has igloos in the back. It's interesting. But very nicely done. Character's moving well. You can see he's got moving platforms as well that are in there. And then he's got a second moving platform with coins that are on it. And that's very nicely done. Okay, excellent. Well, that takes us back over to what today's content is going to be. For today, we are taking a look at this particular tutorial, and the link will be in the description below. I just have to swap that out and copy and paste that in there. But this is what we're looking at. We are creating what's called a game manager. And the game manager is an empty object that has a script on it. And basically, it keeps control of all the different things that are happening in the background. So if you have different objectives in your game, like collecting coins, if you have an objective like, oh, you got to flip all these switches before you can get out of the level, doors that are open or doors that are closed, you know, if you've got more of like a quest style game, the game manager is used for that kind of thing. And as we can see here, in the example, you'll be putting together these switches. And when you operate the switches, there will be a switch counter. And once you've completed activating all the switches, the actual level, the door to the level will be open to get out. And that will take you into level 2. Okay, it's a two-step process. We've got the first part where you'll kind of assemble everything. And then we've got the second part where you'll work just exclusively on the doors. Now, the nice thing is we should not have to do any scripting with this, which brings me to the next part that I want to show you. In the description at the bottom of this video, okay, you can see that there's a link, and that link is like all the others. It's a quick download where you can grab all of the assets. So if you need to, you will need to get this project package here. And it's a package which is different from what we've been downloading, which is why I want to show you this next window. I'm going to hop over to the actual download itself, and you can see that it says .unity package. Okay, now you can take sprites, scripts, prefabs, all kinds of things and put them together into a custom package. And what you're going to do is you're just going to do your normal download. So I'm going to hop right over here. I would click download, and once that's downloaded, that takes me over to Unity. Let me hop out of here so you can see what's going on. All right. Once I'm in Unity, put this up to full screen. What I would do is I would go up to the asset menu, and this is all shown in the video, but I just want to clarify that these are going to be important steps for you to properly get this into your game so that you can use all the parts that are in there. At the beginning of the video, it's going to talk about deleting a whole bunch of scripts in that. You won't need to delete any of those scripts. You don't have any of them. You won't have a switch script. You won't have a door script, door controller. You won't have any of that stuff that's referenced in there, so you won't need to worry about deleting any of that. But you do need to worry about properly importing the assets. So when I go up to the asset menu here, I can go to Import Package, and then I can choose Custom Package. And then you can see that right away it went to my desktop here where I dragged my download. And there's my Game Manager Unity package. And that's the process for properly bringing this in here. This will probably be in your downloads folder. But once I open that up, it's going to give me this window. Now, I've already got all of this stuff in my game. I've already it, but your import window will look very similar to this. You want to make sure that everything is checked over here, and then you will import all. Okay, and then you'll be all set to work through that first part of the tutorial, which is pretty straightforward. I worked through it this morning just to make sure that I knew exactly what was going on there, and everything is working very smoothly. So if you run into any snags along the way, hop on to Google Meet, 11 to noon, or schedule a time with me and we can work through that. But pretty much it's straightforward what you're going to be doing here. And it's going to add that next level of functionality to your game so it feels more like a game, not just a character jumping around randomly to platforms. You'll have objectives now that will actually fit. Excellent. So that pretty much wraps it up for Digital Media 2. That's what I wanted to show you. Make sure that you guys are working on this. You've got from now until Sunday, actually, for that, and that'll be updated in Schoology as soon as I'm offline here. And again, the description for this will be in the description below. Let me finish up here, and then I can edit that so it's in there. Perfect. All right, let me get on out of here. And, I want to cancel that, sorry. That's going to take us over to web design. And we shift gears. Boom, boom. There we go. So web design, one of the things that we've been talking about is the Red Hawk Media site. And you guys have done a great job of putting together some of the different features that we were looking for. For example, we've got, here's one for you. Let me switch that over. Okay. Here is an example of the YouTube carousel that we've been working on. So we got a bunch of YouTube videos embedded in here. Spencer did a nice job of laying this all out. You can also see that in the top part, he has tabs so that those tabs will actually sort the videos out for whoever is coming onto the site. It's very clever the way that it's done, Spencer. Nice job with that. And the everything looks very good as far as the styling goes on the videos. They're all very smoothly put together into that grid, and it seems to be working. Okay, second example here is another usage of the YouTube carousel here. Let me send that on over. This is Wyatt's. And Wyatt has done a nice job of laying out the videos, and he was going with this whole like theater curtain kind of theme that he's got going on here. That seems to be working out really well. And he's got all the videos embedded in there. And then these are all going to be functional, of course, as he finishes out the build for the Red Hawk Media site. Now, one of the things additionally that we had talked about, just to bring this back here, one of the additional things that we had talked about is having not just the YouTube gallery, that we could flip through those videos and access them very easily by sorting them with tabs like what Spencer had. But we also talked about, many of you communicated a desire to have a parallax effect, where it would appear that the background is fixed and then something is scrolling over the top of it. And that's one of the things that I want to focus on today and kind of get you started on that process. There's going to be an assignment that's created related to that from now until the end of the week here Sunday. And that's just going to be focusing on integrating this parallax effect into your website here. Here's what a typical website looks like. Let's hop over to this. Let's switch it up here. And here we go. So on the typical website of Parallax, first off, I hopped onto W3 because it's a great resource. I just typed in parallax and they've got loads of stuff that's on here, and then just experimented a little bit this morning to see exactly what you could do with the parallax effect. And here's the first website example without parallax. Okay, this is just, I mean, you're scrolling through and nothing is moving, everything is fixed in place. You've got one div container stacked on top of another div container stacked onto another. Okay, this is your standard website right here. Now, what you guys expressed is to have this background fixed and then have content that's scrolling over the top of it. And that would look more like this. So let me scroll back up to the top here. Right? And as I scroll down, you can see that background image is fixed, and the scroll down button is going over the top of it because that's a separate div. And then we have the parallax demo div that's scrolling over the top. And then you can even see that that is revealing another background image here as that scrolls over. And this is getting more into what modern web design looks like now. This is why a lot of people use website builders like Wix, and they use WordPress, which has a lot of these like features kind of built into it so that you don't have to really think about the coding that much. But since we're creating this Red Hawk Media site from scratch, we're going to integrate this idea. Okay, so like I said before, I did a quick search on W3. I got some code here, and I went to the typical Triad editor so that I can see what this looks like. And this is the example that they've got on W3. And it's a very basic parallax. You've got an attached fixed image that's centered and takes up the whole background. And then you have a div that is actually scrolling over the top of that. Okay, and that's all fine and good. Okay, but now we want to actually kind of expound upon that a little bit, make it a little bit more complex. So I took all of this code actually, and I pasted it into Atom. So I'm gonna hop down here, bring up Atom real quick, and let me put that up here. Okay, and I pasted all that code in here exactly the way they had it. The only thing that I did was I switched out the background here so that I could try this and experiment a little bit. So I put in the Virtual Academy background here, and this is the effect that it gave me. Let me hop back over to Chrome here, and this is the basic one in effect here. And you can see it's very similar to what we just saw in W3, except I swapped out the background. And you can see at one point, if I keep scrolling, that div container goes completely by and that background still stays put right there. Okay, so that's kind of a neat effect that might be useful in some way on your website. But I was looking for something that was a little bit more dramatic. One of the examples that a student that Wyatt showed me actually, he wanted to have this curtain that actually kind of like reveals up, and then in the background is the content of the website. So like he would have his YouTube carousel, his gallery that he just created, hiding behind actually that curtain. So I got to playing around with this a little bit, and I won't lie, I made a few missteps along the way and tried some different stuff. One of the first things that I tried here is I thought, well, what if we start adding in content to this actual parallax div? So very quickly I just was trying out, okay, we're going to put in a header here, each one. Okay, and trial header. And then I just close that up really quick. And then I put some more content in here just to take up some space so I could see what that looks like. So I put some placeholder text in there. And let me go up to my settings and view and toggle the soft wrap so we can see this. And then at the end of that, I closed up my paragraph. And I tried this first. So I'm going to Command S this. And then I'm going to hop back over to Chrome here. Okay, and in Chrome, let's refresh. And now you can see that's what it did for me. So I still have my background, and I have content that's over it, and that content is scrolling with the red stuff that comes up from the bottom here. So if, like the example that we saw in the demo from W3, if I wanted to put like a button on here, and this was like my landing page, and I wanted to like bring people in, this might be the way that I go about doing that. I could drop that button on there, stylize it so that it's off to the side or whatever. Some of you talked about having social media. that might be the way that I incorporate that over the top of this background image and have it appear to be transparent. Now I know that if you do some searching around online, you're going to come across how-to videos on layering parallax effects. And when you layer parallax effects, it actually creates that effect that things are moving at a different rate. So this is kind of leading into that idea a little bit. So, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So if I hop back over here and I go back to Atom, I was playing around with some other ideas too. I thought about, okay, well, what if I put a div inside of that parallax div here, and then I give that a background color? And again, that didn't exactly work. Okay, I can just tell you that right off without having to show you anything. It wasn't what I was looking for. Ultimately, what I ended up coming up with is this. We've got a parallax effect that has a fixed background. What if you were to double up the parallax effect? What if you were to have a parallax div inside of the other parallax div? So looking at the styling so that this makes sense to you here, you have a background image that's fixed, that's in the background. And then you have another parallax div that's inside of that one, and it too has its own background image. They're both fixed, they're both centered, they don't repeat, and they're designed to cover the entirety of the web browser window. If we did that twice, and we had two different stylings here, let's see what that might look like. So I played around with the code a little bit, and this is a separate file, and you can see that in the area where the parallax is here, I have my first div class, which is the one that W3 gave me, and then I created a second one, okay, and I just called it number 2, and I put it inside of the other parallax div. And then above, what I did is I just took this all right here, all of our styling for the first parallax, and I duplicated it, and then I called it parallax 2 so that it matched up with this class right here. So we have a parallax effect within another parallax effect, two different divs going on, and this is the result that it gave me. I was pretty surprised by this, and I think this is what a lot of you were kind of looking for. I'm gonna hop over to this one, and Wyatt, I stole your thunder a little bit here, I'm sorry. We have a curtain, okay, that now will actually lift up and reveal a background that's behind it. Okay, so again, it's a parallax effect within a parallax effect, and they both perfectly match up on top of each other here at the same exact height. Okay, so if ever you wanted a landing page or a very like cheeky kind of splash page, this might be the way to go about it. And then you could have that button or buttons or whatever you want in the content down here. So if I wanted to put my YouTube carousel into this with actually like no background going on, I just wanted to have a stylized web page that's basically behind that curtain, I could definitely do that with this kind of an effect. Okay, so I'll let you experiment with that more. Again, for web design, this is going from now until the end of the week that you have to incorporate this effect into your Red Hawk Media site. Again, W3, I just went to the search bar, typed in parallax, and that'll get you a good start with the Try It editor, and then you can go in, grab that code and paste it into your own. And I did this all just in Atom. I just did some quick copy and paste in Atom and made it work here. Okay, so hopefully that'll give you some guide. If you need any help with that, or something doesn't seem to be quite fitting the way that you want, let me know. Let me know it's a good time for Google Meet, and we'll go through that. Okay, that should pretty much cover everything for web design. I'm going to go ahead and close out all those windows. And that's going to take me to the last part of this live stream, which is actually going to go pretty quick. Okay, pretty quick. That takes me over to game design. And game design is just a quick reminder here. And let's go ahead and do this and switch over here. And for game design, the big reminder is that we are doing our final build. Okay, we're putting it all together. We're wrapping up the 2D game, and you're submitting that on Schoology. Okay, and I've already gone through the process of how to do that. There's also a link that's in the Schoology assignment on how to go about building your game, and then how to actually like share it with me so that I get that by Sunday 11:59 this week. And a few more people have reached out to me like, hey, Mr. L, I'm really struggling with this and all that. That's great. Schedule a time. We'll meet up on Google Meet, and then we'll talk through a bunch of stuff. You can show me what's going on, and hopefully we can fix a lot of the things that you're experiencing. But I leave that up to you to take those steps to communicate with me, which you are perfectly able of doing. All right, excellent. That's game design. Moving over to video production. All I'm going to say to video production, vlog every day, something, record different things. Think about how you're putting together your show. What is your central theme? What is the idea? Is it kind of a linear thing of, waking up and all that? I had to laugh because I thought of our short film that we put together for the 10-day film, which I'm still waiting to hear about here. But, every day has got to be kind of feeling the same, like Riley's character in that. And, whatever it may be, vlog about your week, edited in Premiere over the weekend, and then that's to be turned in by 11:59 on Sunday. And that was your only thing for the whole week, so should be very manageable to just do little snippets here and there. I'm talking 15, 30 seconds here, 15, 30 seconds there, and then piece it together. And the other thing about vlogging is we would like for this to be an edited vlog, something that excuse me, something that is actually like cut together. I wish I could go back and cut that out. Something that's actually like cut together and edited, and some thought has been put into it. So don't just record and then just drop in all those recordings and call it a day. Clean it up, take out the parts that you don't need, all of that good stuff, and piece it together into one fluid look at your week in quarantine. Okay, excellent. That's video production, which takes me over to Digital Media One. And in Digital Media One, the main thing is that you're working on your stinger pack. And I've had a lot of questions about that. And I think one of the things that you'll realize with GarageBand is, despite two things, which I'm going to show you real quick here, you still may run. And Gwen has been ever so patient with me, going back and forth, emailing me about all of these things. And I agree with her that it's not always 100% perfect in GarageBand. But the first one is this. We have very specific times that the stingers have to be. So when you create your time, let's say you're creating a 15-second stinger, first thing is make sure that you are actually measuring it in time. All right. Gwen got back to me and said, yeah, I've got it checked this time. It should be measured there. I said, okay, what about the end marker, which is the second thing? I showed this yesterday as well. If you go all the way over to the right side here, you have your end marker. If you take that end marker and let's say we take this and scrunch it all down so that we can see this end marker right here, you want to get that adjusted so that it's as close to 15 seconds as possible. And Gwen said, I did all that. I've got it exactly set. Now, even though you do that, sometimes you're going to export from GarageBand and it's going to add on a second or two. I don't know why. It's kind of goofy. It is a free program. That's the one thing that I can tell you, Gwen, and I appreciate your patience and all that. Get as close as humanly possible. And then, GarageBand being an imperfect tool, that's on GarageBand. It's not on you. So do your best to get it close to 15 seconds, close to 30 seconds. And then I believe our other time mark is 1 minute, so 60 seconds here. But get that all put together. And that pretty much wraps it up for Digital Media 2. You just basically need the time to get all those MP3s put together. I don't want to heap anything more on you. It was just kind of a quick note of things that you should worry about as we're going along here. Okay, and let me minimize a whole bunch of this out here and then bring it to a roaring close, which would be just simply, if you need any help with anything, reach out to me. Google Meet, 11 to noon, that's when I'm on. The link is in Schoology. Make sure you check that out. The links for all the content that I talked about today will be in the description in just the next few minutes as soon as I wrap this up. And then if those times from 11 to noon, Rhea, don't work for you, like some of the many of you that are now sleeping in to noon and 1 and 2, and I heard somebody slept until 4 o'clock, and then they basically go into the wee morning hours, and then they do it all over again. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing with your schedule, reach out to me. Let's find a time that works. Talk to me on Google Meet. We can work through some of this stuff. Okay? And that's about it for today. I'm going to wrap it up there, and then at this point, I'm going to send it on over here with our little outro. And we'll call it a day. This has been another Red Hawk Media Virtual Academy, Day 20, wrapping it up, and bye.